Can you believe I've actually finished this thing? This thing has taken so long to do. I actually lost interest in it a little bit. That's probably why the videos has taken so long to get out, because I just had enough. It was just, and it was pretty much my fault. It was just my measurements and, you know, just trying to work things out, trying to do things that you can't really do on these, but I thought I'd try. One of those things was trying to put the Losi arms on here. I got everything set up perfectly right until I had to put the axles. The Losi axles wouldn't go on there, and the Baja axles, I think they were too long. So all that work for nothing. So yeah, it was just a bit of research and development, I guess. But yeah, she's finally done. Went for a quick rip. Clutch was smoking a little bit. I'm not too sure if it's because I think it's a fairly new clutch, an FS Racing clutch, and I haven't had this clutch bell on there before, so maybe it's got a bed in. Maybe you just had too much traction with these tyres, which aren't looking too good anymore. But yeah, I'll see how it goes off-road, because this is 55/19, I think, so quite tall gears, but I'm sure this Zenoa 32cc can do it. But yeah, so let's go through the things I had to do, and over again, which is pretty much just this bracket at the rear. I was never really happy with the brackets I made. So, and then I made this bracket and it was all good, but then I thought, no, you know what, it doesn't seem strong enough. So I doubled up on the thickness. I don't know if you can see it. So I doubled up on the thickness, and then I thought, oh, while I'm at it, let's see if I can put this bumper in. It's not as sturdy as it is from factory, because normally there's two mounting points here, which I've cut off because of these bolts here. But it feels pretty strong, maybe more flexible, might be better, who knows. I always ended up snapping them down here or snapping them up here anyway, so we'll see how it goes. I changed this one to a alloy, thought I might as well do everything right while I'm at it. What else did I do? I emptied the front, so now the front's got nothing in it. I think I put some foam in there so nothing would go in there and fill up with. The shafts, they're quite easy because it's only a pin. It's only a pin that holds the shaft into that cup. So you just take the pin out, shaft comes out, and then it's just the cup on its own. Easy. I did notice it. I thought I had a spare one of these ones, but I don't. So I had a spare one of these which I swapped out. So now this one's tight as. This one's yeah, it's pretty good. So I just got to get a new steering ones. The steering ones are different to those ones, and I thought they were the same. So I've got to get another one there. And yeah, so when I did it the second time round, the first one I did, I couldn't get height of it because of the way I made this bracket. I couldn't get any height, no adjustment, and I bolted the chassis down so that this gap was stock measurements. But then when I changed it all, it changed everything on the plate as well, which I had to move it over by like 15 mil. I know it's not a lot, but I wanted it to be 100% on the money when it comes to measurements and all that. So now she's good. The only thing, again, here's another hassle if you want to do this style, is the pipe. You can't run any Baja pipes pretty much going at the back. It was all good, everything is fine, and then it came down to putting the body on. And then over here, if I put it on the, yeah, because of this pipe, this wouldn't sit down low enough, and the mount was right down there. So I had to get rid of that, and I thought, well, and I cut these a while back. That would have helped if I didn't cut them. But I made up this mounting point down here where it's so you just put this together like that. You put 2 body clips and that'll hold it. So really the cage is maybe to save or to protect the engine, and the engine's got its own protection anyway, and that's hitting that cover there. So it's just so this doesn't go flying around everywhere. So I don't know if this little, it's like a piece of alloy, I don't know if it'll end up chopping these things off, but it's just a trial at the moment. If it does end up cutting the mounts off, I'll just make a plastic. I'll just make a plastic one. But yeah, it was just one drama after the other. When I put it back together, the mesh wouldn't go right. Yeah, it was pretty much the bracket. The bracket never sat right. Then I finally got it to sit right. Then the mesh wouldn't sit right, or wouldn't mesh right. Then I put the pipe on. Then the cage wouldn't sit right. I'm like, jeez. So today I thought, let's finish her off. And she's good. So as you can see, I made my own plate from the last video. So I pretty much mounted this homemade plate to the rear top plate. Just drill some holes through it so that these pins stay in. I just cut the rear bumper section out, and I'm still using the mount for the rear plate for that. And then for the rear bumper, I just screwed through underneath here. It's the only screws I had at the time, but I might, if I can find some better ones, a bit thinner ones, just straight through, little plate, and this holds it down pretty good. Yeah, so this one's only got one mounting point that goes through. Now I've got my height back because I cut the chassis out here. Otherwise there was just no height. I was short on hose, so I had this spare, so I chucked this on. I don't know if they do anything, but yeah. So the only issue with this car now is sometimes this seal leaks, which isn't a surprise. You know, why do you put a seal on a bottom half of a tank? Like, I don't know. And then what I noticed is that with the, I've got the GT5 hooked up to this GT5 Fly Sky, and when you hit the third channel, yep, it goes on and off, no problems. But I noticed that when you turn it off, as if you're losing range, it doesn't switch off the engine. But what it does do is, because of this has its own setup with its receiver, it's automatically hooked up with the brake when you lose range, and somehow that kills the engine without going through the kill switch. So it works, so that's the main thing. So it applies the brakes and kills the engine, and yeah, that's what you want really. It's just not as, for some reason it doesn't go through the kill switch. The kill switch, by turning off the power on the controller, just doesn't recognize it. Doesn't bottom out. A little bit. So yeah, this will be interesting to go out now in the open fields, see what you can do. Because yeah, it was built for speed, so I'm going to try and hang on to these gears. Hopefully the clutch beds in and is all good. But if it keeps burning out, then I'm assuming that this engine can't do 5519. But I'm pretty sure I've seen on YouTube people on stock 32s, and he's got less weight now, so well, a little bit of less weight, I guess. Hasn't got all the drive line going through the middle, the center diff, the front diff, all the brakes. So you'd think it'd have less drag, less weight. I think I put this on a slight angle because it was going to hit the cage, because now the cage is a bit lower. Yeah, it was really, everything was close here, so I changed it over, and I don't know if it's much better. It's still in a painful bloody position. But yeah, now I can finally just do other things instead of always worrying about getting this sorted. So now I've got to get out there and use it properly, use it as I should, because I don't think the neighbours appreciate the noise this thing does. Whew, she's a noisy one. I do have a silencer, but I don't know if I want to put a silencer on it. Let's have a look. There you go, this with the silencer. I could put a bracket coming up here. We'll see how I go with the noise. Because, yeah, I guess the HBI is a bit noisy. This one's fairly silent, and that one's going to be noisy as well. So I'm back to noisy rigs. I might change this fuel line. It's very old. It's the only one I had that was long enough. So I might change these lines. But here we go. All done.